Welcome to the Rotary Club of Edina. I'm your host, Josh Sprague, proud president of the #1 club in the universe. I'd like to extend a special welcome to our club members, interested friends, and professionals tuning into today's broadcast, live from the Rotary TV studios in Edina, Minnesota. These are historic times for our club. Because of the coronavirus epidemic, our regularly scheduled Thursday meetings in the Edina Country Club have been canceled since March 16th and will continue to be canceled through April. So, instead of being together in person and face-to-face for our service and fellowship activities, we are learning how to relate virtually, together, but afar, through technology like we're using today. This live streaming broadcast will be available in the next few days on YouTube in an edited, recorded version. And as with the previous 2 weeks, we will send the video link out directly to your email via Club Runner. But I'd like to ask those of you tuning in today for your help to please reach out to other members who may need this meeting now more than ever. Share these video links and let them know we're still here every week, every Thursday, just in a little different format. You have no idea how your phone call may change someone else's day for the better. And it's an easy way to practice service above self in the current socially isolated society we find ourselves in. Personally, I can tell you I'm missing the connections I make with each one of you at our weekly in-person meetings, and I look forward to shaking your hands and perhaps even sharing a few hugs as we get back to normal business later this spring. Until then, please remember I'm thinking about all of you, and I hope these meetings are giving you some sense of normalcy as we tread through these very abnormal times together as a club, as one Rotary family. And now it's time for the invocation. Today's invocation comes again from fellow Rotary Club of Edina member Tom Cook, father of St. Stephen's Church in Edina. Father Cook says, "Let us turn our thoughts and prayers today to those who now exemplify service above self. Those women and men who work tirelessly to provide medical care and support to the sick and to the suffering. To those first responders, nurses, and doctors who put their lives on the line so that others have a chance to be whole again. Those policemen, firefighters, and peacekeepers who safeguard our communities when all is not normal. And to those who lead and govern in these times, that they may have wisdom, courage, and stamina for the days ahead. Let us turn our thoughts and prayers to those who teach our kids, even without a classroom in which to gather. Those parents who are holding the home together for the young, those who look after the daily needs of the elderly, those gracious friends who call, text, write, stream, and reach out to others any way they can just to say, be well. Let us turn our thoughts and prayers to those who keep our groceries coming, our meals cooking, our packages in the mail. Those whose livelihoods are curtailed by layoffs, furloughs, and lack of work. And to all those who are lonely, despondent, and unsure of their futures. Finally, let us turn our thoughts and prayers to those who have died and to those family and friends grieving the loss of those they love. Grant comfort, healing, and peace to us all. May our fellowship as Rotarians strengthen our resolve to care for each other, our communities, and people throughout this world, in this time and in every time. Amen. Thank you so much, Father Cook, for your inspirational words and providing us with these great, thoughtful remarks for our online meeting invocations. I appreciate your service to the community and to our club. And now I'd like to invite Johnny Sprague to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and the four-way test. Johnny?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Awesome. And now the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Play ball. All right. Well, welcome back. I've got a whole bunch of announcements today, and mainly surrounded on the community service that our club and others are doing right now in the midst of this coronavirus epidemic. Let's start, however, with our Rotary Zoom happy hour that happened last night, April 1st, from 6 to 8 p.m. This was our first ever virtual happy hour, and I'm happy to report that it was an absolutely awesome event. So I'm going to share a few remarks from Renee Harberts, our social director, about last night. She says, "Happy hour was a blast. So good to connect with all the smiling faces. It was great to have our happy hour clan take time to connect and share stories about how our families and businesses are being impacted during this very difficult time. We also took time to laugh and share fun things we've learned and done to stay connected. It's been studied and researched that social and emotional engagement makes us happier, and happiness helps restore our immune system. So time well spent. Thanks to all of our friends and members for attending this online event. You make me happier." And that's from Renee Harberts, our social director. I want to thank Renee for leading the charge on the virtual happy hour and embracing this new technology, and for her 3 years of service as our social director and as a board member. That's 2 back-to-back terms on our board, and we appreciate Renee's experience now more than ever in her leadership position. Now on to service opportunities in the community. If you'll remember, we met with Scott Neal last week. Scott told us about the Edina Community Resource page. Well, volunteer coordinator Nicole Gorman at the City of Edina is making matches between organizations in need and other local volunteers willing to serve. This week, Nicole recommended some great organizations that are looking for your assistance, including the following. Help at Your Door. This is helpatyourdoor.org. What they do is grocery package and grocery deliveries based out of Cub Foods on 84th and Lyndale. Their volunteer service director had the following to say. Help at Your Door, formerly known as Store to Door, was established in 1984 and for the past 36 years has enabled people to age confidently at home by providing food access, companionship, and a helpful hand in the 7-county area. Since the pandemic began, grocery deliveries and service requests are up 25%, and there have been over 300 new service inquiries just in the last couple weeks. So they're looking to fill 3 separate roles. Client connectors, these are volunteers who call clients at their homes to fill their grocery orders over the phone. Shoppers, these are volunteers who fill grocery orders at our partner grocery stores. And then grocery helpers, these are volunteers who actually make those in-home deliveries. So the contact for this program is Carolyn Swenson. She can be reached at carolyn@helpatyourdoor.org. Senior Community Services is also looking for volunteers. That's seniorcommunity.org. What they do is organize volunteers for seasonal cleanups, raking, mowing, and small repair projects for seniors in the community. The contact there, if you're interested, is Kat Behringer, c.behringer@seniorcommunity.org. Also, Elder Friends Phone Companions. This is littlebrothersmn.org, a program they run that, of course, reaches out to seniors with the phone just to get their mental health and companionship needs met all the time, not just in the time of crisis, but there are many isolated seniors that don't have a friend or someone to talk to. So the contact there is Georgia Afton, volunteer at littlebrothersmn.org. Lastly, we reported that the Edina Rotary Foundation made an emergency contribution of $5,000 to the Edina Public Schools Meal Relief Program. This is a program fund being facilitated by the Edina Education Fund and Edina Give and Go. If you're interested in making a donation, check out the website here, edinaendfund.org/s/mealfundcovid19. And you can make your online donation to that program at any time. Now on to our own service programs happening in our midst and being facilitated by Gene Morrison. So, in addition to Gene Morrison, who has matched up volunteers with our senior members looking for calls, Katie Campbell is one of the volunteers who is actually filling the calls and has this to report from the field. What a privilege it is to connect with Rotarians over an old-fashioned phone call. A small cadre of us are doing our part as Rotary Club of Edina members to help with the program. We are checking in to see how our members are doing during this crisis. Not surprisingly, overall status is healthy and needs are being met, but sometimes in surprising ways, we've learned. Neighbors are delivering home-cooked meals and organizing dog walking for one Rotarian recovering from a hip replacement. You'd think these people were all Rotarians by their attitude of service, he remarked. Food is a common theme, not surprisingly as well. One Rotarian's handyman offered to bring takeout chicken noodle soup over when he came by to complete the spring yard cleanup. Another Rotarian I spoke with hates to cook, so has a new practice of driving 20 minutes each way to their favorite downtown restaurants to get preferred takeout. Of course, there is concerns about declines in business. Some noted a loss of customers already, while others are anticipating a peak summer season of business, which now may coincide with the peak of the virus in Minnesota. What gives me hope is people keeping a vision to thrive going forward. For one Rotarian, it's the prospect of getting back to his retirement activity of ballroom dancing with his wife, waltzing and foxtrotting and East Coast swinging their way across the floor. Visualizing the dancing and socializing with dancer friends is keeping me going, he said. We'll get through this, said one Rotarian who served in World War II. He went on to muse about the future of our education system, how it may be, permanently changed by the online learning. A sense of humor is one coping mechanism Rotarians seem to have in abundance. Do I need any errand runs? This is the call I've been waiting for all my life, joked one Rotarian. I'd love it if you would deliver some groceries to Phoenix, joked another retired Rotarian. Golf is open in Arizona, and beauty salons there are considered essential businesses. Go figure. And this report comes from the Rotary Helping Hands desk and Katie Campbell. Thank you, Katie, for sharing those thoughts with us today. And so, in sum, and as a reminder, Helping Hands program is aimed at supporting senior and other Edina Rotarians by reaching out, connecting, and assisting with specific needs. This is a trying time for all of us, and a helping hand would be welcomed by many. Let's remember, too, the young professionals in our club who may be taxed by layoffs, lack of childcare, e-learning in the home, and other difficult situations that can use a supportive call. For all of our members out there, if you need a helping hand or you would like to be a helping hand, please contact Gene Morrison at 612-804-2409 or Gene at genemorrisonhr.com. Gene and Katie, just wanted to say thanks to both of you for your important work, and to all of you out there listening, pick up the phone, give each other a call. It can make a big difference in someone's day. And that's our announcements for today. And now on to our program. It's my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Ashok Dhariwal. Ashok is the owner of YogaFit in Minneapolis with 3 locations in Linden Hills, Loring Park, and Northeast, and 5 more locations under development. YogaFit is actually a newer division of Snap Fitness with a mission to make yoga and fitness more accessible to the masses. Ashok's business background is in domestic and international retail. Prior to YogaFit, Ashok worked for Target Corporation for 14 years in the new startup/entrepreneurial division. Prior to Target, Ashok worked for United Health Group and Arthur Anderson's retail division. Ashok and his wife have 3 children and live in the Linden Hills neighborhood of Minneapolis. Please help me welcome to the Rotary TV set, Mr. Ashok Dhariwal. Hey Ashok.
Hey Doug. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here today. I want to thank Katie Campbell for making the connection. She's one of your customers, correct?
Yes, yes, and one of our friends too.
Okay, good. One of my friends too. What a great person. So listen, tell me a little bit first about your family. I got a little bit of the sketch,
Sure.
but tell me what's going on with them and how are they coping through this?
Yeah, I think being a small business owner, they're used to change all the time, so that probably was a good training for them when we opened up YogaFit. But they go to Carondelet Catholic School, and they started e-learning about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And they are on spring break right now, which is kind of challenging because they can't see their friends.
Spring break.
Right. Versus
Never-ending spring
where
break.
they're supposed to go. Yes. So they're doing as best as they can. I think it's going to be interesting to see what they learn from this whole experience.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely not relatable. Where I think in the past kids were connected in person and not through electronics, and now the electronics are actually helping them stay connected with seeing their classmates every morning, which has really been fun.
So have you had any connection problems on the school end? I just noticed this is our 4th day of e-learning today. We actually had a session this morning, and sometimes that whatever the system are that they're using is kind of overloaded and crashing. Is that happening with
We
you
have
at
not
all?
had that issue.
Okay.
Mainly probably because we're a much smaller school.
Yeah, than the Edina public schools.
Right.
But the interesting thing is not that forces them to learn email, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So
yes, they can't text their.
they can't text their request to the teacher.
Yes.
Hey, I missed the assignment. I couldn't get on.
Yeah.
It's an interesting time. So tell me a little bit, how did you get into this business? I'm always fascinated by how someone moves from an employee, total security, to a business owner, entrepreneur, self-employed, total insecurity, right? We have to, if we don't kill it, we don't eat.
Right.
And so I'm remembering what it was like for me, but tell me a little bit about what it was like for you making that transition and what got you to do it.
Yeah, my transition was, it wasn't as planned as some people think. My background is, my parents had retail stores in New York City, so I had sort of that family-owned, work all the time, never get paid type of work ethic. I say my father perfected child's labor. And then I wanted to get benefits and vacation and pay, so I did that, working for other companies as I got older. And then my plan was actually to go to a smaller retailer and then just kind of started looking at buying our own business because I had that, self-ownership background with my parents.
Yeah.
And started looking at franchises and businesses, and I had never done a yoga class in my life or a fitness class. So when I was talking to Snap Fitness about their mission for YogaFit, it made a lot of sense to me. And based on the research I did, I thought it would be a good place for people like me to come to YogaFit.
So in your heart somewhere, you always wanted to be on your own. It's just that you were getting that retail education through Target and through United and through, okay.
Yeah, and I think, you alluded to our mission about making YogaFit more accessible. And when I looked at the marketplace, our 4 pillars are to make it more affordable, make it more available in terms of classes, which will tie into the virtual classes we're doing now. Also give back to the community, which is, something that we do quite a bit. And then the 4th prong was really to have very welcoming teachers, which is why we also have our teachers doing the virtual classes and they're not videotaped, by people that they don't know.
Yeah. And then you started this right kind of in your own backyard.
Yeah, we bought the first 8 franchises of basically all of Minneapolis, Edina, and St. Louis Park. So we own the rights to those territories. And, we've been open for 4.5 years now and enjoying it every single day.
It's a blessing that you've been 4 years in business already. It's so difficult out there given the circumstances for small business. So walk me through, the week that you figured out you were going to be closed, there's going to be all these challenges, and how did you make that adjustment? This is the most interesting part of your story to me.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it wasn't my idea. So that's one thing I've learned is, listen to your customers. And so we stayed open as long as we could when it was safe. And so on March 15th and 16th, I decided it was not safe anymore for our teachers, our students, and all their families. And so I decided to shut down. And I thought I'd have a nice week vacation. And then one of our customers said, you should do virtual classes. And then my wife also pushed me towards it too. So we basically just jumped right into it the next day. We closed on Monday. We had our first virtual class, which is our teachers in our studios doing the classes. So figured out the technology by 5 o'clock the next day.
Wow.
And then we started building on it more and more and more. And what we heard was that this was a time where, this is going over 2 weeks now, but what we heard was that yoga in general and fitness classes, we have 6 different formats of classes. So we have 3 yoga classes, 3 fitness classes. This was normally, before all this happened, yoga and fitness was very good for people in general, right? Nobody has ever said they've felt worse after doing yoga.
Right.
So
and low impact. It's
and low
not
impact,
like some of
yeah.
the...
So our age range goes from 12 to 80 years old
Okay.
doing our classes.
Oh, wow.
And So we do hit a wide variety of people. But when this happened, what I found from our customers was that this is really when they needed it. And, doing some YouTube video that they don't know who the person was, there was no connection, kind of like what you're doing here, is making sure that connection stays. So there's a couple of reasons we did it. One was to let our teachers actually be employed. So all other gyms and fitness places have shut down completely. Many of them laid everyone off. We've kept 50% of our staff on payroll, thanks to being able to do virtual classes. It was also something that our customers wanted, and so we actually keep building it up. Now we have 50 classes a week that are virtual, and we'll keep adding to it as much as we can.
Yeah, that leads me just to a quick point, is that people always think of the gym as physical health, but I look at it so much as mental health. I mean, I think about people right now cooped up, and also the people cooped up with children that normally would be gone through the school day, and they're trying to work from home, and they're trying to do it by video, and that quick hour of workout just to clear your mind is so pivotal right now, like more than ever. It's not just about that cardio health, right? It's about that mental health and being able to clear your mind and focus.
Yeah, and I think it's important for both, right? So if you're healthier, you're less likely now to potentially get the virus if you're healthy, right? They're saying work out, get healthy. But to your point, I probably heard more comments in the last 2 weeks about how helpful it was for their mindfulness than I heard in the last 4 years. And it's fun doing virtual classes. People send us pictures of their dog doing it, their kid doing it with them, their cats. And so it's a very personal thing. All of our teachers can see them, and they can see the teacher. They know who it is. They have chats afterwards and things like that. So it's the closest connection I think they possibly could have while benefiting both the teacher, because they enjoy teaching, as well as maintaining our business over the next month or so. So that's kind of been a win-win for our teachers being employed, our customers getting the help they need, and a lot of people from all around the country, which has been fun too. So members that have gone off and moved to California now are signing up for a drop-in class or paying the month and taking classes whenever they want. We record all the classes so they all can see them later on as well. So people have enjoyed that too, seeing their own teacher later on. And it's usually filled with bloopers. So because I'm usually in a class.
These things happen.
Yes.
So one thing interesting too is you think about somebody that had maybe an individual membership. You said kids and dogs, and now they kind of get the household membership. So it's almost like there's increased value for some of those households, right?
Yes, we've always had a family kind of membership plan, but this is more very lax and want to make sure it's fun. So if their kids want to go do it with them, we want them to do that. It's more about maintaining than it is growing the business right now.
Yeah. So what technology did you decide to use to broadcast? I'm just curious.
We ended up using Zoom, because my wife's company just started using it.
Zoom, I never heard of that.
Yes, good stock to own probably.
No doubt.
For a little while. But the technology was easy to use. The teachers were using it. It also gives them an opportunity to do their own classes on their own to raise their own money. So the industry has really shifted a lot in general. A lot of these independent teachers that rely strictly on yoga and fitness classes need to make money, and they're doing it either through us or augmenting it with their own classes, which we completely support.
It's interesting, in times of war and crisis, I feel like America has always pivoted well towards innovation and has become stronger. As I was running today, I was thinking all of these changes that are going to be institutionalized afterwards, that before no one even considered. They would think, hey, we'll do this someday, maybe a portion of our business or something else. But this transformation is happening, and it seems like here in America, everybody is embracing this. I mean, of all ages, all types of businesses, and maybe there's a silver lining somewhere for in that mode, not only with respect to business, but maybe to how the government works as well.
I think the other thing that was interesting that came out of this process was that we had clients that had businesses everyone's working from home, and they said, can we stream these for our businesses? So we actually have now a corporate partnership, and so we're actually giving our subscription to businesses to allow their employees to take our classes that we've never met in our lives. So we actually now are doing a B2B market where we have 3 or 4 clients already that have 30 or so employees working from home, to the point where they actually want to keep it going past when we hope the virus is even over. And so they've even paid me for May, and I said I wasn't planning on having virtual classes, so now I actually have to have virtual classes as well.
So it pushed you into corporate wellness market, right?
Yeah, unplanned. But so listening to your customers, I'm like, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, adopting the technology, when it's a low barrier, makes it a lot easier. I think that the Zoom technology, I've watched 90-year-olds and 9-year-olds adopt it and figure it out pretty quickly. So I agree that it's something that can help get through the current situation, but maybe also to expand the business later on. It seems like this will be a huge shift for the consumer as well. Most people were working from home already, a lot of those contract workers, regular employees, independent businesses. Now this gives them an opportunity to do other things in that home office.
Right, and companies are seeing, the fact that I already have my people working from home already.
Yeah.
So, if they're comfortable doing that, let's help them through these benefits, like being able to do a yoga subscription for $5 to $10 per employee per month.
Yep. So from the customer base, tell me about some of the reports. You told me a few, but what are the positives that are coming out of this that you're hearing about?
A couple of funny ones. One is, I would never have taken a burn class in studio, but I'll do it at home now because nobody's watching me. So kind of the opposite of what you think about group fitness. So there's sort of that part of it, or the family's doing it with them probably for the same reason, because yoga and fitness is still intimidating to the majority of people. And so I just try to hire really nice people that will be welcoming. And fortunately, we have customers like Katie and Nate Wenner's wife, Jen Wenner, is also one of our customers.
Shout out to Nate.
Yes. So it's really about creating that environment. I compare, our customer service to like a Trader Joe's, where you can go in and everyone's happy. It's because they treat their employees well. They treat their customers right. Growing up in a family-owned business, kind of ingrained in me to make sure whatever customers want, if they want to cancel tomorrow, I just cancel their membership, no problem at all.
Yeah.
Not dealing with a lot of the formalities that some of those companies do short term, but then long term it doesn't work for them.
So going back to your experience in the international retail, what are you hearing about, from other entrepreneurs around the world about how they're doing yoga? Is this something they transitioned to as well? I know the innovation's happening at home, but have you talked to any other owners around the country or world that are doing some of these things as well?
I think unfortunately their issues are so much bigger, right? When you think about India, not even having the 6 feet to separate, and I was watching a video where they sprayed everyone with disinfectant because they had to,
Jeez.
So I think, I try to remember how lucky I am. One of our teachers said, pick a word that, resonates with you during one of the classes we took last week. And mine was lucky. I've got a business that's healthy. I've got, healthy kids. I'm not in a third world country, which I easily could be. My father came from India. And just understanding how lucky we are. And I just try to keep reminding our kids that some of your family, we're all lucky compared to 99.9% of the world right now. So I think they have bigger issues right now. I think the technology will be a problem as well, just because the whole infrastructure of, especially the third world countries like India, where yoga was created, could never even think about doing this right now.
It's amazing to think, though, just how quickly things are transitioning. We were talking about your 5 locations in the future. Tell me a little bit about that, and where are you seeing demand for your product in the Twin Cities markets? Yeah,
one of the things I've realized is I want to make sure I understand the market. In other words, working in downtown allowed me to really understand Minneapolis and living in Linden Hills. So we basically bought all the markets I know all the streets to, because I didn't want to go to an area that I have no idea, like a Burnsville. I don't know that area very well. I don't know anybody there. We're in this market that we're in right now, Linden Hills, Northeast, and Lawrence Park. I'm very familiar with those buildings, those areas. Over the course of the next year or so, hopefully we'll open up a couple more. The retail market in general is going to be changing a lot. I mean, we haven't talked about that, but when you think about all these for release signs out there last month, and what's going to happen the next month, and the government programs are there, but they're extremely complicated. And you take in a business owner, a small business owner that doesn't speak English, and try to figure out all the SBA, the deed, the PPP, the CARE programs, and we have bankers and accountants that haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah,
and,
so your professionals are trying to get through the maze.
Yeah, so you take an average small business owner, that might not even have a high school degree, and say, hey, you figured out that has a landlord that needs their rent.
Yeah.
So I think one of the challenges before, and probably will still go until the money comes in, is the landlords are stuck in the middle. And so they're, unless they get relief from the banks, they're not going to get relief from the landlords. So you have small business owners that are losing revenue completely. If they're shut down, even if it's a restaurant, it's probably 5%.
Yeah.
They've got tons of expenses with rent and shrink and things like that.
Not a lot of margin.
And they're not a lot of margin from the start.
Yeah.
And then now they're getting hit with this rent check on April 1st. And whether it's, eviction or non-eviction, I think it's going to be a big challenge if they can survive for 2 or 3 months before, even if the money comes in, will the customer base come up right away?
So some of those grants, you said SBA, that's the federal program, deed, that's Department of Economic Development in Minnesota. Right. And then what's the PP?
So that's part of the CARES Act. So it is very confusing. And so that's the Payroll Protection Program.
PPP.
What that does is protects small businesses, and it still isn't fleshed out, but basically granting them 2.5 months of your average payroll over the course of the last 12 months to be utilized in May and June if you ramp up your business really fast.
Is that Stimulus 3? Did that come out of the
It's part of CARE.
Okay. Is CARE the acronym?
CARE is the overall arching program
I got
signed last week.
Okay.
So
you told me you're seeing signs already of the distress.
Yeah. I mean,
storefront to storefront.
You'll see there's desperation out there when you see these fancy restaurants that have oak tag on their windows saying "call for pickup."
I've seen those, yes, right? And then, the signs out front that says we're offering pickup.
Right. So if the rent went away, that at least gives them some breathing room.
I saw that
rent's not going to go away.
I saw that at a pancake house. I'm not sure how many people are getting pancakes for takeout, but it just made me think of this.
Yeah. What do you think? They have California Pizza Kitchen or Cheesecake Factory basically told all the landlords not paying rent. Like the larger companies have a lot more clout. The small businesses
they got leverage.
aren't going to have leverage with these landlords because landlords don't have leverage with their banks either. All these smaller buildings.
The dominoes fall down.
Yeah, I think it's stuck with the small business.
And the real issue is time, as you mentioned, because some of these programs are more difficult to navigate through. Right. It's not just like you read it and you understand it and then you go get your money.
The applications change every minute. And so what started out with a $10,000 loan for the emergency, I think it's EIDL is the acronym, started with a 2-hour application process, now is 5 minutes. But we also have to assume if the money's going to run out too. So there's only so much money out there. So
with your command of these acronyms, you might want to think of this as another business model. Yeah. Maybe you can offer these services
right during tax time. Yeah. My attention switched over to.
I could see this as a future Zoom meeting for small business owners in Minneapolis.
Yeah, it's very complicated. Like I said, I've got an MBA, and it's very complicated for, somebody that's educated, and even like I said, I have 2 accountants, bankers, and they all can't figure it out yet. And at some point, the system's going to crash. I'm sure. Supposedly, the application's going to open up tomorrow. You got millions of small businesses.
Let's keep our fingers crossed on that one.
Right.
So in terms of opening 5 future locations, maybe is that still in the plans, or do you think maybe some of that will transition to this online business where you'd be kind of opening up more accounts and not necessarily need that brick and mortar?
I think we'll need the brick and mortar. I think the positive note for us is as more and more buildings are going up, there's more choices for me to pick locations. There's more supply of retail space. So I can be very picky about which space I want, which building I want.
What do you like for your trade area? Usually it's about
a mile. a mile and a half. Yeah, we have people from this area that come to our London Hills area. Because we're affordable, we're literally half the price of every yoga studio and fitness place in the metro area. We have 50 live classes a week. So those are instructor-led. So we're usually double. We're a 24/7 studio, so our members can use our studio 24/7, part of Snap Fitness infrastructure. And we have health insurance reimbursements. We do discounts for nurses, teachers, and as well as nonprofits.
Wow.
So from affordability perspective, probably 80% of people will come a mile, but that 20% will come from Bloomington. They'll drive 3, 4, 5 miles because we are affordable and we have so many classes.
So in terms of your business confidence meter today, for our audience, 0 to 10, 10 being very hopeful, 0 being unhopeful, where do you kind of lie today? What's your outlook?
For me, personally, with YogaFit, I would say it's more of an 8. Just because I think there's a need for what we're doing. This month has shown that people will stay with us. Our teachers are staying with us. So they're sort of like, I think we hit the hardest time to prove our business model, and we're passing it with virtual. I think going forward, we're full-fledged. I'll open one up in 2-3 months if I get the right deal. Other businesses, I think it's going to take 2 or 3 months to figure out if they can survive or not.
Yeah, but also in the marketplace with your price value, that could be more appealing if the recession hits and people are more hard hit for gym memberships.
Right.
Gym memberships here in town, new place, could be $150, $160 a month for one person.
Right.
That might not be sustainable in the future. Right. Yeah.
It's going to be tricky.
Okay, so now it's time for this week's Corona quiz. I hope you're ready. This is 7 questions, and if you get all 7 right, our videographer, Chris Laskowski, will give you $1 million. No.
Sounds good.
All right, so here we go. True or false? Food items in supermarkets that have been touched by other shoppers are likely a major source of coronavirus spread.
False.
False, yes. It's not a way that it's spreading at the current moment. Number 2, more than 1,000 Americans have died from the coronavirus, with the most deaths in the state of California, New York, Washington, or Texas.
I guess Washington.
New York.
New York.
New York. Number 3, the state seeing the fastest growth in new cases of coronavirus is California, New York, Washington, or Louisiana.
New York.
Louisiana.
Saving $1 million.
Hey, I'll take half right now. Louisiana, I think, there's
Mardi
a lot
Gras.
of urban poverty in Louisiana, and also the cities, and it's too bad. Number 4, coronavirus has been detected in every state except Hawaii, Alaska, West Virginia, or coronavirus has been detected in all 50 states plus Washington, D.C.
All 50 states.
You're right. Hawaii doesn't have any deaths yet, and Wyoming also does not have deaths, but everybody's got the infections. Number 5, true or false? If you've had coronavirus, you'll likely become immune to getting it again, at least for a while.
False.
I think that's true. And some of the countries, Sweden actually still isn't mandating social distancing based on that theory of trying to spread the virus through the population. Of course, if you're a senior in Sweden, not such a great method. Number 6, there are perhaps millions of viruses, but only 6,828 have been officially named, including the cause of the current pandemic, which is MRSA, MERS, SARS-CoV-2, or COVID-19?
COVID-19.
Nope. SARS-CoV-2 is the name of the virus that has caused the current pandemic.
Oh, wow.
Yep. SARS-1, of course, SARS we've heard of. That's one of those 7. 5, I think, are cold viruses, or 4. And then there's SARS, MERS, and SARS-CoV-2. Number 7, this herbal cold remedy has been shown to shorten the course of coronavirus infection. Number 1, echinacea. Number 2, oil of oregano. Number 3, elderberry extract. Number 4, no supplement has been shown to prevent or treat the coronavirus.
I go elderberry.
Number 4, no supplement has been shown to prevent or treat the coronavirus. Although if you Googled it, I'm sure you'd see a lot of possible cures and treatments. Nope, nothing has been shown of those supplements to help. So, unfortunately, you didn't get the $1 million, but we learned a few things,
learned
right?
a lot. Yes.
Don't go to Louisiana anytime soon. So, I just want to say thank you so much for being here and sharing. You have a great story as a business, a hopeful story, somebody who's actually making the adjustment, getting through the crisis. I wish you and all of your customers and your family well.
Thank you.
And I want to say that Rotary is a global network of 1.2 million neighbors, friends, leaders, and problem solvers who see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change. From literacy and peace to water and health, we are always working to better our world, and we stay committed to the end. In the honor of your presentation today, we will make a donation to Rotary's official disaster relief partner, ShelterBox, which provides emergency shelter to families devastated by natural disaster and conflict around the world.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
You too.
Yeah, say hi to Katie at those classes
I will. Thank
online.
you.
Next week's speaker will be Mick Sterling, local musician and founder of the 30 Days Foundation, which helps Minnesota families and individuals in real-life financial distress by providing one-time payments to landlords and other service providers. And we have some awesome events tentatively provided and planned for May, which I want to highlight now. First, on May 4th, we've rebooked John Kaufman, our friend from H2 Open Doors, and he'll be flying in from California to talk about some of his recent projects with the SunSpring solar and wind-powered water purification system. This includes a recent installation at the Escuintla National Hospital in Guatemala, where our friends, Drs. Menendez and Posadas, are working through their own coronavirus epidemic in that country. Remember, these little Sunspring systems can crank out 10,000 gallons of purified water a day. It's pretty cool. I look forward to hearing John and actually hosting him. On May 27th, we'll have our vocational offsite meeting tentatively at the Discovery Nexus Center at the University of Minnesota, brought to you by the University of Minnesota Alumni Board member and our own Mark Jessen. Thanks, Mark, for helping us with this one. The Discovery Nexus is a tech incubator that brings university faculty, staff, and students together with businesses, entrepreneurs, and economic development leaders to form new collaborations, advance university innovations, and promote economic development. The 30,000 square foot space houses several university units that all share an emphasis on collaboration. Among these are the U of M Alumni Association, the U of M Foundation, the Office for Technology Commercialization, the Office for University Economic Development, Educational Technology Innovations, and the Technological Leadership Institute. Then, to cap off a great May, on the evening of May 28th, we will be headed to the Walker Art Center for private tours of the sculpture gardens and the private collections. Of course, everything is TBA depending on how things work out, but I want you to know we have a plan and a vision for May. As we close today's meeting, I'd like to share a quote from John Fitzgerald Kennedy, also affectionately known as JFK, the 35th President of the United States. President Kennedy said, "The Chinese use two brushstrokes to write the word crisis. One brushstroke stands for danger, the other for opportunity. In a crisis, be aware of the danger, but recognize the opportunity." There is opportunity here, right now, for all of us, for our professions, for our clubs, for our members, and for our humanitarian mission, both locally and around the world. As you go about your week, remember that together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves, as Rotary pursues its mission to connect the world in meaningful ways. Thank you again, everyone, for tuning in to this week's broadcast of Rotary TV. Be safe, be well, and have a great week. Meeting adjourned.